So if you've been watching anything about Dungeons & Dragons in the last few weeks, you've probably heard about the OGL. And you're also probably wondering why the hell everyone has been talking about it and worrying about it. I'll get to the finer points in a later video where I'm going to go through this as well as the history that led up to the OGL's creation, but in the meantime, here's the short version. The OGL pretty much opens up your ability to publish your own homebrew based off of Dungeons & Dragons and make money off of it. Though there are some limitations to the open license. Most people thought it was fine, though there has been some discussion, especially in recent years, about what Wizards claims they can give out from the license, what they can enforce, and if the license is even necessary. But regardless, the new OGL got leaked, revealing to the entire tabletop gaming community that Wizards of the Coast, who owns Dungeons & Dragons as a brand and are owned by Hasbro, have decided to alter the deal.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
The leaks included a ton of new restrictions, forcing even the smallest third-party creator to have to report their income to Wizards of the Coast. Royalties targeting larger third-party D&D creators like Cobalt Press and MCDM. And a big, fat middle finger to anyone who didn't like the new license by removing the previous license that didn't have all that jazz.
You like jazz?
To say they got greedy is an understatement, and they decided to not talk about it for days, leaving the community to their own speculations and fearing the worst. During the whole event, I did a series of live streams covering the sheer PR nightmare this situation's caused, which you can watch on the live section of my channel, where I spoke to creators like William SRD and Critical Kunik about the whole situation as a week of drama unfolded before our very eyes. In a way, you can think of this whole video as a big picture of D&D, if you will.
So have you ever done DMT?
To catch you up to speed on everything that's happened. But before we dive into it, let's thank today's sponsor, Apotheosis. Looking for alternatives to Dungeons & Dragons, especially in light of all the controversy? Looking for more character customizability? New character races to choose from? A way of doing experience that isn't just milestone? Because the rules as written version of keeping tracks of tens of thousands of experience points is really stupid, and maybe there's a reason why other modernized games like Pathfinder 2nd Edition and Cypher System don't do it. Then try Apotheosis. Apotheosis has streamlined and simple rules your players might actually read. Instead of skimming the PHB to the same class they've been playing for 5 years, a class that they still haven't learned the first level spell list of. In Apotheosis, characters become stronger by doing things, gaining new abilities tied to their ability scores, and an easy-to-learn system where you build your class as you play. But your characters aren't the only modular and customizable parts of the game. Apotheosis is designed to be easily homebrewable, meaning adding your own rules and items and even other settings should be a breeze. But not only is it easy, the creator of the game itself, Ian Tassin, told me to let you know that all creators making content related to Apotheosis keep 100% of their rights and monetization for anything you make. As Wizards of the Coast would put it, that means we win and you win. He also plans on releasing an Apotheosis partnership program, meaning that any creator making Apotheosis content can contact the team for a referral link that will let them keep a portion of all profits made through that link, in addition to whatever they make from their original content. So if you're looking for a new game with an emphasis on encouraging open design, then check out this link here for a bundle containing the Apotheosis game, its first expansion pack, and the Sci-Fi Edition, all for a discounted price. Thank you once again to Apotheosis for sponsoring today's video. And with all of that out of the way, let's gather up a murder and dive into the biggest horror story in D&D history.
Alright, see, I hope I don't fuck up my spiel.
Go for it.
Alright, so, OGL 1.1 was apparently leaked to Gizmodo author Linda Codega, and Jacob Crowe from Crowe's Perch and I are here to talk about it. If this is real, this is going to be very bad for not just content creators, but also consumers. So what do we know? The original OGL, referred to as 1.0 in the leak, will be nullified and labeled as unauthorized, meaning existing users of the OGL will have to upgrade to 1.1 or stop the sale of their products altogether. Point 2. The original leak was implied to be announced on January 4th, with the effective launch date being January 13th. giving creators just 7 days to respond and voice their concerns. This obviously didn't happen, and we don't know why. It could be that during internal discussion, they realized how badly this would be received and pulled back on it for revisions. And oh boy, there's been a backlash by the sheer amount of video and coverage, even just a few minutes ago from what we found out, has happened.
But yeah,
wait, was OGL 1.1 actually released, or was it just the document
no.
was leaked?
It hasn't been officially released yet. Wizards of the Coast made an official statement. This is something I actually want to bring up. This is the only response officially we've gotten from Wizards of the Coast about any of this, and it wasn't even from their official account. It was from fucking DnD Beyond. We know you have questions about the OGL, and we'll be sharing more soon. Thank you for your patience. That's it. Fucking pathetic, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, if it wasn't true, they would have just said, no, this doesn't exist.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's definitely been corroborated. I mean,
oh yeah.
The thing is, the CEO from Kickstarter said he's been in talks with Wizards.
Yeah.
And a big part of the leak was that if you are on Kickstarter, you get a little bit of a discount on the amount of revenue they're going to take from you.
Yeah, so that's why part of that information came out to begin with, right? Because like they had to go through legal shit in order to be able to like make sure that this happened. So obviously someone's going to talk about it, you know? There's too many people involved. You can only cover that kind of shit up for so long before someone finds out.
Like my tinfoil hat theory is that they leaked it to gauge community reaction.
Yeah, I kind of get the same gist. Fucking
it's
wild.
nuts.
Crab's video went from 100K to like 300K. Asmongold found his video.
Oh wow! So
holy fucking shit.
It's definitely popping off. Really? Wow.
Yeah. Wait, is this also on Crit Crab's video? What the fuck?
I mean, Crab probably has the biggest video about it right now.
I think so, huh? That is absolutely insane. Yeah, Crit Crab just DM me what he said. yeah, dude. You're in the vid. He's freaking out. That's so funny.
Matt Mercer, Critical Role. I saw someone in chat saying Critical Role's cast has been very quiet. Mercer liked a tweet, and I don't have it.
I'm looking at the tweet right now. I have it up on stream. Hot take: D&D is the #1 TTRPG in the world because of the open game license and the community of designers and players that this has fostered. Yep.
Yeah.
Better game, not even because it's D&D. Yep.
So he liked it. It's his most recent like as well. He's keeping it there for a reason.
Yeah, that is not a mistake. Don't expect a statement basically until Wizards of the Coast makes their own official statement about where the OGL is going to be.
If they do anything, if they say anything, it's going to be that they're making their own rule set, and it's going to be headed by their creative head, which is Ivan. My friend thinks if they do anything, it's going to be through him to do their own rule set.
I think they can, honestly. Could you imagine, honestly, like if Matt Mercer decided to prop up some kind of like independent company to be able to create like their game, how much that would take off? Like I feel like it would. I feel like it would actually like, go very well, especially considering the rest of their endeavors, like the Ikotoa board game they had going on. As far as I know, that was a success.
It's a fun game. I played it.
Oh, cool. Pathfinder was born basically out of when Wizards did this before in the GSL. The 4th edition GSL was apparently pretty fucking controversial because it had a lot of things that even this current OGL, this 1.1 had. The only thing, if I recall, that it didn't have is an overwriting of the previous 1.0. And that was part of the reason as to why Pathfinder was able to get so much third-party support, because that's basically what helped spearhead it to begin with.
For almost all of the run of 4th edition, Pathfinder was like the game people played if they wanted an actual tabletop experience. If Critical Role does not build their own system, I would almost put money on them switching over to the Black Flag project. I know that they were originally a Pathfinder game back before Campaign 1 aired, but personally, I don't think Pathfinder has an appeal on like a viewing point of view, because it's very, very rigid in some of its rules.
Yeah, Pathfinder is going to get new people, but there are reasons as to why there are people who play D&D who do not play Pathfinder. Pathfinder, at least on the surface, just based on the way the sheets are presented and how the rules are presented, is very rules heavy and very procedure heavy, and some people don't like that, and that's just going to be a turnoff for people, especially ones who want a simpler, more streamlined experience, which in my opinion 5e doesn't even offer, but it offers the illusion of that for a lot of people. I honestly think this is why, and I hope this even, that an actual simpler game is what ends up spearheading these things, potentially even one that's more independent.
Raising our flag from Kobold Press to our fellow kobolds. Kobold Press has been and always will be committed to open gaming and the tabletop community. Our goal is to continue creating the best materials for players and game masters alike. While we wait to see what the future holds, we are moving forward with clear-eyed work on a new core fantasy tabletop rule set, available, open, and subscription-free for those who love it, codenamed Project Black Flag.
So they're really going all in with this. They're making a whole new damn thing. I really like to see what they end up coming up with. I've really liked the kind of products they've been working on. And they've been one of the bigger 5th edition third-party creators in the space.
I know people are really stoked about this because of the content that they've made in the past. This is very much like a Paizo situation with Pathfinder, right?
Oh, yeah.
Paizo before was a big creator of D&D content. They were ticked off about the 4th edition license and went off and made Pathfinder 1st edition, eventually 2nd edition, and Starfinder. This feels like that. They're going in with the foresight that the people that are going to be impacted by this are the streamers. And the streamers need something that's easy enough for the average viewer to pick up.
There's a reason why movements like things like the OSR and the NSR started by essentially, like, they hate 3.5, and that's part of the reason why they went with simpler rules for a lot of these things in retro clones and even ones that branch off from that. It's like, yeah, there's a reason why that ended up happening as a counterculture to what was going on in Dungeons and Dragons at the time, you know? And part of that is the simplicity of it, because you want to be able to present these options to your players in-game, so that then they're not thinking about all this shit and thinking about meta and thinking about all this shit that you do in, like, video games, you know?
And I can almost see, like, if we're going to go on theorycraft this a little bit, I can almost see a super modern take on this, right? Super modern take for Kobold. Imagine there's not even a traditional character sheet. They don't have to deal with that bullshit. It's a mobile app. Put it on your phone. And that mobile app has 2 versions, easy mode and advanced mode, or like regular mode and advanced mode if they didn't want to call people babies. So
like BNX, like basic expert Dungeons and Dragons way back in the day.
So if you're playing a ranger, you're probably going to want to use a bow and arrow. You're probably going to want to be like Legolas and all this other bullshit from Lord of the Rings. And you have a few options here and there. You get your race, your name, gender, things like that. Maybe a few options to change your character a little bit, and you're done. But if you want the advanced option where all of a sudden you're a ranger no longer using a bow and arrow, you're using daggers to hunt and carve food and things like that.
Yeah, maybe a spear, you know?
Yeah, where you can do your own variant of it. An advanced mode for that would work wonders. And I think if they do this all in a mobile app to manage this, you wouldn't, like, I know a lot of people are pen and paper purist, but it really limits your ability to make adjustments to your character on the fly, or or it limits what you can actually do with your character. I think that'd be my hot take. If they were going to do anything and they wanted to really change the industry and have a product that is not a dud on launch, that would be one unique way to do it. Mordecai asks, how will this affect RPG horror story narrators?
As far as I'm concerned, just based on my own rudimentary knowledge on the topic, most of what we talk about isn't even really D&D focused. It's like TTRPG focused, and it's also Reddit stories. So I guess we fall under the same kind of legality anything else would fall under when it comes to just covering what people say on Reddit, which is not much, honestly. I mean, like, MK hasn't been banned for for covering r/nice guys or whatever. So the day that happens, the day we're fucked. There doesn't appear to be anything on YouTubers or video, like, content creators, but given Stranger Things, I can't see why they wouldn't want to cover that somewhere. That's true. You know, I didn't think of that with Stranger Things. But I'm pretty sure, because they also mentioned something about, like, exclusive contracts deviating from these things. I think Stranger Things might actually fall under something like that instead, no? Especially, like, with the new D&D movie that's going to be coming out soon as well. Yeah.
It's 100% possible, yeah.
You don't necessarily need the OGL to post 5th edition adjacent content. From what I had read about, when it comes to game mechanics, you can't actually copyright them. This is something that EA ran into, if I'm not mistaken, with Shadow of Mordor. Because you can't actually copyright those game mechanics. You can copyright some of the language used in its entirety, but you can just use synonyms and other things like that.
As it is right now, if you want to produce like fan-made content for 5th edition, there's a lot of things, like, if you want to make a spell, you have to label it the same way? Is it somatic? Is it, verbal? Is it, what is the casting difference or distance? What's the casting time? How many turns does that take? You have to label these things very similarly to D&D, because if you don't, and you don't identically use the same wording that they use elsewhere within the rules of D&D, it makes it a little bit harder to decipher how you want this spell or ability or whatever to function, because there's pre-existing rules and discussion for those other spells that should dictate how your content works. So his workaround for that would be he would have to intentionally change the naming of a lot of things in the layout of how you show your spell so that it differentiates it from 5th edition. The problem is, if you do that, then you're not going to have those prior notions of how spells worked in 5th edition to apply here, because you have to use different phrasing to not get hit legally for that. So it opens up a lot of issues with how
the consumer, right?
Confusion for the consumer. Really, the OGL, like every workaround that your actual creators would have to do to get around these issues, whether it be dealing with the price hike, which they would have to increase the prices of their products. If they wanted to continue posting without paying the royalties, they would have to do weird phrasing. Even though people think that it's only going to impact the creators of the content, it is 100% going to impact the consumers as well. If OGL 1.1 hits, mark my words, the consumer will be impacted one way or another.
So with the first day of drama unfolded and Kunich to go on to make the first episode of his new podcast, we were left with 3 days of radio silence from Wizards of the Coast. Meanwhile, things were going fine in the D&D community.
If the OGL 1.1 is true, this is bad. This is... wow, it's bad for the industry as a whole. It's going to be rough.
People have decided to stop playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and have been looking for its next replacement, Pathfinder 2nd edition.
Time to support other companies who are developing and publishing under the Open RPG Creative License, or ORC.
But, finally, after all that time, we got a response. And I joined up with William SRD to talk about it. This is William SRD, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go, that's me. That's me. That's the voice of me
just
talking.
Just enough for you, right? To fit in the screen here. Get you sweat facing. Okay, so D&D Beyond staff. There was a statement. I'm going to admit I did not go through anything yet. I know you did. I wanted to approach this with the level of neutrality that I would have as I had just woken up like an hour ago.
Oh, wait, so you haven't read this yet. So when I said you should set the stream title as We Win, you don't know what that means yet.
I don't know. Wait, no, I know that. That's
okay,
the
you know
line.
that part.
We got confirmation today that the leaks were all true as of 5 hours ago. So, yeah. That's where we're at right now. So this is Wizards' statement. I can go ahead and just start reading it out, and then me and William are going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So let's get started. So when we initially conceived of revising the OGL, it was with 3 major goals in mind. First, we wanted the ability to prevent use of D&D content from being included in hateful and discriminatory products. I feel like that line in particular is being aimed towards TSR, right? New TSR?
Oh, yeah, Neo TSR. Yeah, absolutely they
To
are.
be fair, though, they made some racist-ass fucking stupid shit.
Oh, yeah.
Also...
absolutely they did.
I heard this, and let me know if this is true. The old OGL, they could technically already sue them for. So did they really need to address that?
I'm pretty sure they could just handle it, yeah.
They did this
Plus,
last time. Remember that one like sex game that had come out in like 2004 or whatever?
Plus, like, I'm 90% sure. Okay, so Queen Civ is asking what's TSR. So here's this kind of side story. So TSR was the old company that it was Gary Gygax's company that created D&D in the first place. And recently, a team of clowns, one of whom is one of Gary Gygax's sons, has
Ernie,
has basically said, we're going to do TSR again, even though Wizards of the Coast owns all the rights to TSR. We're just going to call it TSR. And our explicit purpose is to get women and minorities out of video game or out of TTRPGs.
Yeah, that's literally.
And they've been in like a million fucking lawsuits with Wizards of the Coast already.
They've also been the source of like they've turned into like an RPG lolcow, honestly. Like...
Yeah, They've been kicked out of various conventions and stuff. They know that I sometimes cover this shit on my channel, so they email me all the time.
Really?
Yeah, every time there's an update, they email me and they're like, "Ooh, thought you might think this is interesting," and I'm like, "No, I gave you free publicity the once. We're not doing it again."
But yeah, they're fucking pathetic. Out of all the indie games you should support, don't support them. Also,
Yeah,
they're
never.
trying to claim ownership over, like, old school role-playing and the old school revival when they've had nothing to do with it over the course of years that it's been by itself, growing by itself, with all the different communities that spawned from it. Ernie does not get to
Yeah.
claim the fucking OSR just because he's old.
To make it clear, just so that we're not speaking vague things, there's stuff written in their games that's directly like, in our game, just like in real life, some races are just superior to others. Like, that's straight up written in one of their games.
Yeah.
Like, we're not being like oversensitive when
Yeah, we're
we
not
call them
woke
like.
scolds or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, there's some blatantly racist shit. Like, they had a race of what is very clearly supposed to be Nordic white people, and a race of what's very clearly coded as, like, African black people.
And their name is literally just the N word,
Yes.
but with the O at the end.
Yes.
Like,
And they have an int fucking stat decrease and a strength increase. That was
yeah,
just
and
what the fuck
white
are you
people have
doing?
like a minimum 13 in every stat.
Yeah.
It's so if Wizards of the Coast is trying to block that stuff, that is a good cause.
That's the only part of that I agree with so far.
Yeah.
But like we were saying, they could do that already. They could do that under
Yeah.
the current OGL. Second, we wanted to address those attempting to use D&D in Web3, blockchain games, and NFTs. By making clear that OGL content is limited to tabletop role-playing content, like campaigns, modules, and supplements. And third, we wanted to ensure that the OGL is for the content creator, the homebrewer, the aspiring designer, our players, and the community, not major corporations for use for their own commercial and promotional purpose. This sounds like a statement pointed straight towards Paizo.
Yeah, tell me you're talking about Paizo without talking about Paizo.
Yeah, not major corporations, air quotes, Paizo.
Yeah.
Driving these goals with two simple principles. 1, our job is to be good stewards of the game, and 2, the LGL exists for the benefit of the fans. Nothing about those principles has wavered for a second. That is
Hilarious. Hilarious. Considering we have like leaked internal emails and stuff and like whistleblowers and stuff saying, no, that's
weird.
not at all the case.
Our drafts included royalty language designed to apply to large corporations attempting to use OGL content. It was never our intent to impact the vast majority of the community. It seems like that happened anyway.
Yes. Well, of course, their intent was not to hurt everybody. Their intent was to make money.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't want to hurt you. We just wanted your dollars. Come on.
Exactly.
Shut the fuck up and give me your money. However, it is clear from that reaction that we rolled a 1.
They got something right. They got something right.
Silly billies. The next OGL will contain the provisions that allow us to protect and cultivate the inclusive environment we are trying to build, and specify that it covers only content for TTRPGs.
Yeah, so this is relatively important for my community because I just put out a video talking about how the new OGL updates specifically are going to shaft a whole bunch of like independent video games that have used the OGL, and Wizards is really sticking to it. Like these little indie games are not causing Wizards to lose money, but they're going after them anyway. They're pretty much going to be explicitly
What is
banned.
the point of that? So the next OGL will contain the provisions that will allow us to protect and cultivate the inclusive environment we are trying to build, and specify that it only covers content for TTRPGs. That means that other expressions, such as educational and charitable campaigns, live streams, cosplay, VGT uses, etc., will remain unaffected by any OGL update. Content already released under 1.0a will also remain unaffected. What it will not contain is any royalty structure. It will also not include the license back provision that some people were afraid was a means for us to steal work.
This is the first thing where it feels like they actually walked something back because that particular provision was absolute garbage. So for people in chat who didn't know, if you made and monetized D&D fan work, adventures, and all that kind of stuff, Wizards of the Coast could at any time just say, yeah, we own it, and we're going to be the publishers of it now.
Yeah, basically. Which is kind of fucked. The license-backed language was intended to protect us and our partners from creators who incorrectly allege that we steal their work simply because of coincidental similarities. First, we won't be able to release the new OGL today, because we need to make sure that we get it right, but it is coming. Second, you're going to hear people say that they won, and we lost, because making your voices heard forced us to change our plans. Those people will only be half right. They won, and so did we. What the fuck?
You see, this is the statement that's just like, it's pure spite. You can feel the spite just dripping off of the sentence.
Pure
like,
copium.
I feel like there was an editor like holding some like stockholder writing this back, just like, no, please, you gotta dial it in. Yeah, exactly. Queen Sif, they're talking about who won this, and they're claiming like, okay, you guys won a little bit, but so do we.
Yeah, we
like,
won too.
Like, what kind of community post trying to like address criticism is this, saying like, you win this time, but so do we? Like, what?
You may have won the battle, but not the war. You know, like, what the fuck? This isn't very reassuring. Our plan was always to solicit the input of our community before any update to the OGL. The drafts you've seen were attempting to do just that. We want to always delight fans and create experiences together that everyone loves. We realized we did not do that this time, and we are sorry for that. Our goal was to get exactly the type of feedback on which provisions worked and which did not, which we ultimately got from you. This statement here, that our goal was to get exactly the type of feedback on which provisions worked, which did not. Why did you start with like the most inflammatory ones, knowing then that it sounds like they knew it pissed people off if that's what they wanted to throw in? Thoughts? You think this is a good response?
No, I think this is a terrible response, honestly. Yeah, as Apis in your chat says, this is essentially doublespeak. It's them doubling down. They gave like one provision, which is a good provision, I'm glad, but it's nowhere near enough. A lot of the things are blatant lies. We have a bunch of provable stuff and leaks and internal documents and stuff that like show that they're lying. It's a miserable attempt. I don't know how this. I don't know who wrote this, and I don't know what editor allowed it to be published.
How the fuck did this get out of the editing room?
Exactly. It probably went through like
an entire
the board
team, right?
Yeah, and everyone thought this was good.
D&D Shorts got a pretty big leak from people from WotC. So this was a leaked. I believe this is an email, correct?
Yes, it's from a whistleblower inside the company. D&D Shorts did all the background work to verify that this is a real person and all that, and wiped out their names. This email has also been sent to a few other people.
Really?
It's also very like consistent with everything we've heard so far. So it seems very credible based off of everything we've heard. D&D Shorts has always been reliable up till now, so I would trust him on this.
So the email reads as follows: Hi, I'm an employee at WotC, currently working on D&D Beyond, DDB, and with D&D business leaders on the health of the product line. I'm sending this message because I fear for the health of the community I love and know what the leaders of WotC are looking at. They're briefly delaying rollout of OGL changes due to the backlash. The decision was based entirely on the provable impact to their bottom line that tracks fuck capitalism. Specifically, they are looking at DDB subscriptions and cancellations as the quickest financial data they currently have. We'll get into the consequences of this line later. They are still hoping the community forgets, moves on, and that they can still push this through. Yes.
They want everyone to forget. They want the news cycle to move on so that they can still do all this shit.
Mm-hmm. They think that their fans are just fucking stupid, and they're just gonna be like, oh, well, once 6E comes out, which I'm just gonna call it that. I don't want to say fucking D&D 1. It's 6E. Let's be real. It's 6E. So when 6E comes out, they're hoping that you go, oh man, there's gonna be so much fucking content and so much of this shit that we're gonna be able to cover. I guess I can just stop talking about the OGL stuff now and just, focus on I want to cover the positive side. I want to do all this shit.
Yeah.
They just want you to shut the fuck up, basically. Leadership's first communication to the rank and file in the OGL was 30 minutes on 1/11/23. This is the first time they even tried to communicate their intentions about the OGL to employees. And even in this meeting, they blamed the community for overreacting.
I love the idea of that it's just like, them leaning over the DDB's staff's desk and just being like, yeah, okay, so we're just going to destroy the community next month. Be ready.
I'll have you coming on Sunday, all right? We're going to destroy the D&D community. Okay? If you could do that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So as a consequence of this, Crit Crab, along with several other creators, have been talking about unsubscribing from D&D Beyond, because basically it says if that's what they're looking at subscriptions, then what's the best way to protest it? Well, it's to unsubscribe. I love his post here. It's so catty. What does it look like to unsubscribe from D&D Beyond? I forgot. Please send pictures. I'm a visual learner.
He's so catty. I love it.
He's great.
I love it.
I love Crab. Oh my god. All right. So there were other statements, one of which was made by Paizo yesterday. I wasn't able to cover it.
So this is Paizo. For everyone who doesn't know, Paizo is the publisher for Pathfinder and Pathfinder 2nd Edition, a system that was created in the aftermath of the last time Wizards tried to get rid of the OGL. So this is very much a how many times do we need to teach you this lesson, old man situation. Basically. So Paizo says, for the last several weeks, as news of Wizards of the Coast's new version of the open game license began circulating among publishers and on social media, gamers across the world have been asking what Paizo plans to do in light of Wizards' intention to deauthorize the existing OGL 1.0. We believe that any interpretation that the OGL 1.0 or 1.0a were intended to be revocable or able to be deauthorized is incorrect, and with good reason. We were there. So you may have gotten, a little like trapped in the lawyer speak there of like versions of the OGL and all that. But what you've just heard is take this to court. Like, bring it on. This is Paizo saying, yeah, you can't do this. We won't let you.
Like, they're pretty blatantly saying, like,
yeah,
we will be willing to defend this. Like,
yeah,
we will fight you in the courts.
Paizo owner Lisa Stevens and Paizo president Jim Butler were leaders on the Dungeons & Dragons team at Wizards at the time. Brian Lewis, co-founder of Azora Law, the intellectual property firm that Paizo uses, was the attorney at Wizards who came up with the legal framework for the OGL itself. Paizo has also worked very closely on OGL-related issues with Ryan Dancy, the visionary who conceived the OGL in the first place. Paizo does not believe that the OGL can be deauthorized ever. We have no interest whatsoever in Wizards' new open game license. Instead, we have a plan that we believe will irrevocably and unquestionably keep alive the spirit of the open game license. We believe, as we always have, that open gaming makes games better, improves profitability for all involved, and enriches the community of gamers who participate in this amazing hobby. And so we invited gamers from around the world to join us to begin the next great chapter of open gaming with the release of a new, perpetual, and irrevocable open RPG creative license, also known as the Orc. Incredible. Fantastic name.
I love it.
Fantastic name.
Beautiful. No notes.
Yeah. No notes. So the Orc will protect us all. The Orc is a hero now. Okay.
Yeah, the Orc will smash the OGL.
So in addition to Paizo, a bunch of different studios and publishers have signed up to back the Orc. So in addition to Paizo, Kobold Press, Chaosium, Legendary Games, and a growing list of publishers have already agreed. And a growing list of publishers have already agreed to participate in the Open RPG creative license. And in the coming days, we hope and expect to add substantially to this group. Exactly. And the best part is this next paragraph. The Orc will not be owned by Paizo, nor will it be owned by any company publishing RPGs.
That is unfathomably based.
Incredible. They don't even trust themselves. Trust no one, not even yourselves.
Yeah,
Paizo understood the assignment.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the best possible way to write a new open gaming license.
100%. Once again,
Yeah.
no notes.
No notes. This is incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, here, let me put you back on the screen.
Oh, thank goodness! I was having a heart attack. Give us that dancing bird back. Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
the dancing
Perfect.
bird's gonna be back. Don't worry.
Yeah,
There he is. I know people
Perfect,
were getting
yeah.
anxiety seeing that the
I know.
bird wasn't here.
Yeah.
Hit you! Ooh, bless me.
What is that? How you sneeze?
Yes, that is how I sneeze.
You go hick shoe? What?
Hick shoe. I do
Like-
the hick shoe.
You do the hick shoe. You literally like say hick shoe while you sneeze.
Yeah, it's it's not a real sneeze. Fuck you. Don't tell me how I can sneeze. Wait, oh shit, he posted something
an
25
NDA.
minutes ago.
Okay. This is hot news. Okay,
Breaking
yeah.
news. Okay. Critical Role has always supported creators and game development in the tabletop space. We stand by our industry peers as well as anyone who takes a risk creating a new system or developing an original idea. The beauty of gaming comes from the opportunity to share inclusive, diverse, and compelling stories from a wide spectrum of creators. That's exactly why we launched our own game publishing company a few years ago, because we believe that broadening the field of creators boosts the entire industry. The success we have experienced is thanks to the passion and interest of the greater tabletop community and commit to fostering an environment that allows everyone the opportunity to easily share the stories they wish to tell.
Okay, so this is just PR, really.
Yeah,
It doesn't really say
kind of
much.
says nothing.
Yeah,
it throws a little bit of shade, but not enough to be substantive. This is kind of a nothing burger. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for coming on stream, bro.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was fun. I'm glad we got to cover it. I think it was that there's interesting news the last couple days. I'm sure things will continue to unfold, but yeah, it's interesting. The important thing is to remember that these concessions aren't enough, and they're gonna go away the second Wizards thinks we're complacent.
So, with the D&D community in flames, Pathfinder's new Orc license, and WotC gaslighting the community into thinking OGL 1.1 was a draft, and that they were going to make a real response soon, I decided to do some digging on the OGL and descended into a pit of madness. I went through threads of lawyers arguing, corporate scheming, and dozens of angry fans yelling at each other. But then, right at the precipice of my insanity, Wizards makes another response. Hi, Crowe. What's the scoop? There's a scoop. There's some scoops. There's more than one scoop. We're going to be covering the thing that's going on right now when it comes to the new OGL stuff. What is this? This is the descent into madness. That's what this is. Quit edging you? Oh, shut up. You know you like it. So, what you probably all came here for, and we'll follow my dalliances and divergences afterwards, but we're going to be talking about Wizards of the Coast. They're a very kind and nice company that didn't at all ever make the OGL with the intention of getting people to believe that this was supposed to be some kind of open source license when it actually wasn't, and was just a way, even from as early as the early 2000s, to just convince people to create content for them, which is why it was such a fucking brilliant idea to go back to it after the GSL failed, which was made for 4th edition. It might have even contributed to the death of 4th edition because of the perception that it was no longer allowing a open source license for their game, even though it was basically exactly the same thing, but with a bit more restrictions, which they probably couldn't restrict anyway, but, you know. Fun stuff, fun stuff, fun stuff. Let's see what they have to say. These past days and weeks have been incredibly tough for everyone. As players, fans, and stewards of the game, we can't, and we won't, let things continue like this. First, though, let me start with an apology. We are sorry. We got it wrong. We're listening. We're learning. I love these corporate responses. They're so funny. Our language and requirements of the draft OGL were disruptive to creators and not in support of our core goals of protecting and cultivating an inclusive play environment and limiting the OGL to TTRPGs. Then we compounded things by being silent for too long. Yeah, that definitely didn't help. We hurt fans and creators when more frequent and clear communications could have prevented so much of this. I'm going to be completely honest about something right now, and maybe this is just the cynic in me. I genuinely feel like if the moment these leaks started coming out, if Wizards just popped in and like gaslit everybody into believing that that's not what the changes were going to be, they could have convinced basically like 90% of the people following this into just saying that everything's fine. I legitimately believe this. Starting now, we're going to do this a better way, more open and transparent, with our entire community of creators, with the time to iterate, to get feedback, to improve. Number 1. On or before Friday, January 20th, we'll share our proposed OGL documentation for your review and feedback. Number 2. After you review the proposed OGL, you will be able to fill out a quick survey. It will ask you specific questions about the document and include open form fields to share any feedback you have. Number 3. The survey will remain open for at least 2 weeks, and will give you advance notice before it closes so that everyone who wants to participate can complete the survey. Then we will compile, analyze, react to, and present back what we heard from you. It seems like a worse apology than the Sonic redesign. I mean, at least with the Sonic redesign, at least you didn't get this abomination. The fact that, and the teeth, the like human teeth that it had. God, it was so fucking disgusting. Finally, you deserve some stability and clarity. We are committed to giving creators both input into and room to prepare for any update to the OGL. Also, there's a ton of stuff that isn't going to be affected by an OGL update. So today, right now, we're laying out all the areas that this conversation won't touch. Any changes to the OGL will have no impact on at least these creative efforts. Number 1. Your video content. We knew that already, though. What the fuck? That falls under the fan content policy. That doesn't even fucking matter. Number 2. Your accessories for your owned content. No changes to the OGL will affect your ability to sell minis, novels, dice, apparel, and other items related to your creations, characters, and worlds. Well, I'm glad they got the 2 things that they've been getting the most out of when it comes to D&D as a brand as opposed to what the OGL actually covers. But whatever. You know you could make dice, apparel, all those things anyway, as long as you don't use their trademarked characters and designs. But you can make fucking copies. People do this kind of stuff all the time with band t-shirts, and they get away with it. So, yeah, another thing that is already not affected by the OGL, but they put it in there anyway, just to let you know. Non-published works for instance contracted services. You use the OGL if you want to publish your works and reference 5th edition content through the SRD. That means commissioned work, paid DM services, consulting, and so on are affected by the OGL. VTT content. Any updates to the OGL will still allow any creator to publish content in VTTs, and will still allow VTT publishers to use OGL content on their platform. DM's Guild content. The content you release on DM's Guild is published under a community content agreement with Dungeon Masters Guild. This is not changing. Okay. That is actually something that is a concern. So, I mean, at least they addressed that one. Your OGL 1.0a content will not be impacted by the new license, the 2.0, or whatever they end up calling it. Your revenue. There will be no royalty or financial reporting requirements. This was literally gonna kill them if they did this. I don't know why the fuck they thought they'd get away with this part. This was the worst stipulation. Your ownership of the content. You will continue to own your content with no license back requirements. Okay. You will hear again from us on or before Friday, as described above, and we look forward to the conversation. Kyle Brink, Executive Producer of Dungeons & Dragons. I mean, this isn't really much of a statement, but just like a statement that there will be talks. It's better than what they gave. I'll give them that. So, D&D Shorts talked about the digital game VP, Chris Chow, and about what's going on with these D&D Beyond changes. So let's go through the first claim here. So Awesome Dungeon Scribe says, if Wizards tried to squeeze more money from you with these D&D Beyond changes, how would you feel? $30 per month, a deauthorized OGL 1.0, homebrew banned at base tiers, and stripped down gameplay for AI DMs. Reportedly, D&D Beyond cost WotC 40,000 plus subs, which is honestly insane. 40,000 plus. That's $5 a month, and even after whatever costs, right? Like, that's still a sizable chunk of change. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Gone. And D&D Shorts replied with, I can confirm these changes are what Wizards Digital Game VP Chris Cow has planned for the future of Dungeons & Dragons. The $30 per month is for the highest tier and includes monthly content drops. Their dream is everyone paying $30 per month to play. Haas is correct on everything, confirmed by WotC sources. Yeah, they're raising the price to bring you back. What a move, right? Wow, I have way too much money. God damn it, what am I gonna do with all this money? It's literally falling out of my pockets. Won't somebody please take some of this money? So anyway, I imagine that's our target audience right there. Oh my god, shut up, Kunik. No! No! Don't say D&D Battle Pass out loud. You're gonna give them fucking ideas. There's some stuff. Oh, Crab posted a new video? Oh shit. Alright, let's look it up. Let's look it up. Ha! There's 13 minutes and 37 seconds on his latest video. Yeah, Pathfinder is not simple enough, not just for your average D&D player, but your average, player. The majority of our players, especially with the explosion of TTRPGs as a whole, right, is most D&D players don't read the book. This is specifically for players. This isn't DMs, right? They don't read the book. Or if they do read the book, they read the PHB, right? Let's be honest. Let's be real here, right? Let's be real. That's most people. And when it comes to making an entry point game, I keep hearing this point that D&D is a simple game. I disagree. I've played fucking one-page RPGs. I fundamentally disagree. Not only do I think D&D is not a simple game, I think it's a complex game. Is it less complex than Pathfinder? Obviously. But it is a complex game nonetheless. There are collectively, about 700 pages between the PHB and the DM's guide that you have to read through in order to even play the fucking game. Let's look at Ironsworn real quick. How big is Ironsworn? 42 pages. Look at that. Look at that. You guys want to see some fucking tabletop gaming? DMCA free metal music. Let's find some shit. Yeah. Look at this shit. Yeah. Mecha dudes. Y'all want to try this game out? Violence. Logic. Heart. Check a heart when you get hurt. When all hearts are checked, you're dead. You fucking die in Mecha dudes. You're dead. When an action's outcome is uncertain, roll d6 for every checked box and a relevant stat. If you roll a 1, it's a success. You win. You fucking do it. You all make a mecha dude. The GM runs them through an official D&D adventure that was illegally obtained. You're not allowed to play the game unless you pirate a Dungeons & Dragons adventure that is official. You have to. Or you're a bitch. And you can't play. You're not allowed. Make up rules as needed. You don't even need rules. You tell me you fly in the air, you draw a sword, you blast him? Sure. Roll a fucking Constitution save. Where's Constitution? I don't know. I'm gonna write it here. It exists now. Illegally obtain a Dungeons & Dragons adventure. This is not financial or legal advice. This is a meme. In Minecraft. Don't actually do it. But do it. With Crab's final response, Kunik attempting to do Inception, to get WotC to put in a D&D Battle Pass, everyone anxiously awaited the new OGL that would be dropped on the 20th of January. But then all of a sudden it dropped on the day before. Babe, wake up. New OGL just dropped. How bad could it be? We are at the precipice of a new OGL. A new OGL. Say person A pointed a gun at person B and pulled the trigger, but the gun jammed. Person A then gives a half-hearted apology. Should person B accept the apology? Should they trust person A ever again? What if person A starts visibly trying to clear the jam, but assures person B that it's all fine, asking for a friend? Yeah, I fucking love this. I'm not gonna shoot you, I promise. You hear the gun click, and he's like, fuck. And he's like going through it, and he's like, no, don't worry, I'm not gonna hurt you. And he's like, you see him visibly like knocking his gun against the wall and shit. He's like, come on. I promise, I won't do anything. You're fine. This draft is for discussion purposes only. Yes, it's only 6 pages, Ricardo. As opposed to 200 like last time. Now we're at 6. Big difference. Dungeons & Dragons content is available to you in many ways. Core Dungeons & Dragons mechanics are licensed to you under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International. This means that Wizards is not placing any limitations at all on how you use that content. That is actually massive. To those of you who are unfamiliar with the Creative Commons license, it is a open license, pretty much open source. They have no ownership of it, and the 4.0 international public license states, the licensor hereby grants you a worldwide, royalty-free, non-sublicensable, non-exclusive, irrevocable license to exercise the license rights in the license material to A. reproduce and share the license material in whole or in part, and B. produce, reproduce, and share adapted material. The licensor authorizes you to exercise the license rights in all media and formats, whether now or hereafter created, and to make technical modifications necessary to do so. The licensor waives and agrees not to assert any right or authority to forbid you from making technical modifications necessary to exercise the license rights. Now, what does this mean for us in terms of the OGL? Basically, you could straight up just take these pages out. Those pages could effectively be ripped straight out of the fucking book, and you could just print them out. You even sell it. No one's gonna buy it, but you could. That's pretty huge. Our copyright rights to the other content included in the system reference document are licensed to you under the Open Game License 1.2. Use of D&D content in streaming, fan art, cosplay, and other fan content is permitted as described in the Wizards fan content policy. We already know about that. Platforms such as D&D Beyond and DM's Guild provide additional paths to share your D&D content under different license terms. Will this sway people? Will this be enough to sway people? Creator product badges. That's new. This is similar to what the D20 system, when you would make a product that would be compatible with 3 and 3.5 edition of D&D. You would have these badges, basically, that you'd stick on them that says, like, R20 or something like that. I forget exactly what it looks like, but this is essentially the same kind of badge that you would have applied to that. So long as you comply with that guide in using the badges, Wizard licenses you under the OGL 1.2 to use such a badge on any of your licensed works. Here it is! Well, well, well. The Open Game License 1.0a is no longer an authorized license. This means that you may not use that version of the OGL, or any prior version, to publish SRD content after the effective date. A lot of what the Open Game License originally did was perspective. But you know what's not good for public perception is deauthorizing the old OGL. Even if this new one, on the surface, looks better, this is still going to piss people off. Our licensed content, this license covers any content in the SRD 5.1 or any subsequent version of the SRD we release under this license that is not licensed to you under Creative Commons. Only our licensed content is licensed under this license. That's a lot of license. Any other content we release or have released is not licensed to you under this license. In consideration for your compliance to this license, you may copy, use, modify, and distribute our licensed content around the world as part of your licensed works. Your licensed works are yours. They may not be copied or used without your permission. That's different. You acknowledge that we and our licensees, as content creators ourselves, might independently come up with content similar to something you create. If you have a claim that we breached this provision, or that one of our licensees did in connection with content they licensed from us, you expressly agree that money damages are an adequate remedy for such a breach, and you will not be seek or be entitled to injunctive relief. Yeah. Alright. If Wizards happens to make a fighter that looks almost exactly like the one you created, the only thing you could effectively sue them for is the money damages. You can't stop them from printing it out. You will not include content in your licensed work that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing, or engage in content that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing. We have the sole right to decide what content, conduct, or content is hateful, and you covenant that you will not contest any such determination via any suit or other legal action. Even though this is here, it's going to take a long time before anything even happens with it anyway. We may immediately terminate your license if you infringe any of our intellectual property. Bring an action challenging our ownership of our licensed content, trademarks, or patents, violate any law in relation to your activities under this license, or violate Section 6F. We may terminate your license if you breach any term of this license, and do not cure that breach within 30 days of notice to you or of the breach. 30 days notice, huh? I wonder how the fuck they plan on enforcing this? This would require them to have to, like, comb through all that content. This is the new OGL, and we're going to go into the virtual tabletop policy. Anyway, the VTT can apply magic missiles 1d4 plus 1 damage automatically to your target's hit points. You do not have to manually calculate and track the damage. What isn't permitted are features that don't replicate your dining room table storytelling. If you replace your imagination with the animation of the magic missiles streaking across the board to strike your target, Or if your VTT integrates our content into an NFT, that is not the tabletop experience, that's more like a video game. Yeah, are we gonna start copywriting the animation of a fireball? That's a weird one. The NFT stuff, I mean, yeah, NFTs fucking, they're stupid. If you have an NFT, you're dumb. Wait, I thought they already have the OGL covering video games. So VTTs like Tailspire are going to die on arrival? Probably. We've never licensed visual depictions of our content under the OGL, just the text of the SRD. That hasn't changed. You can create a creature called an owlbear with the stat block from the SRD. You cannot copy any of our owlbear depictions. You say this is conversion. Does that mean this policy can change? Yes. We need your feedback as the tabletop space evolves. The potential VTTs is tremendous and exciting, and we don't want to harm the development. So there we have it. Yeah, I'm gonna do legalese reading ASMR, where I just go through fucking literally every page of the SRD. Please read me every single word of the 400-page deck. Fuck you! I'm not doing that. Oh my god, stop. You know what the shit is. You guys read the book. What am I saying? You guys didn't read the fucking book. Like 5 of you read the book, alright? We demand a dramatic reading of the SRD. I hate all of you. God, I fucking hate the exploration rules in fucking D&D. Oh my fucking god, I'm gonna go crazy looking at this shit. How the fuck could you look at exploration? The only thing you cared about was time and movement. Jesus fucking Christ. That's it. Nothing. That's it. It just ends. It ends right there. God fucking damn it. I remember reading some dumbass fucking comment where somebody was like, the D&D exploration system, you always make fun of it. You don't know what you're talking about. This is the exploration system. 2 fucking pages. Look at this shit. What am I supposed to do with this shit? The fuck am I supposed to do with this? 2 pages. They don't even have doors. Where are the doors at? Where's the door? Where's the tour rules? You tried exploring? Fuck yourself, Drake. I'm still curious. I'm gonna still wait and see what ends up actually happening with the new OGL, because there's some stuff here that's a little sussy-wussy. So, with my will to live finally drained, Wizards of the Coast to weirdly target D&D video games and Tailspire for some reason, with their new virtual tabletop license, everyone now waits with bated breath. Or at least, that's what was supposed to happen, right before this. So you're probably wondering why I gathered you all here today. We're gathered here today to celebrate the size of this W. I had made the joke before that the only way Dungeons & Dragons could possibly solve this is if they threw the entire SRD under a Creative Commons license. So they just made this post. We are leaving the OGL 1.0A in place, as is, untouched. We are also making the entire SRD 5.1 available under a Creative Commons license. You choose which you prefer to use. So not only have they completely gone back on the idea of overwriting the OGL, they made it more accessible than even the fucking org. What does this extend to? The entirety of what's in the 5.1 SRD. If this is the case, there is actually no reason to use the OGL anymore. So the SRD is the System Reference Document. The System Reference Document is basically everything that's in the rules for 5th edition that isn't some of their more specific copyrightable material, which is like some of their monsters. There's a couple other things. This effectively renders the OGL 1.0 obsolete. This has more freedom than the actual fucking old OGL. CC by 4.0 is the new SRD license. Let's take a look. So with the Attribution License 4.0, you're free to share, copy, redistribute the material in any medium or format, as well as adapt, remix, transform, and build upon the material for any purpose, even commercially. The licensor cannot revoke these freedoms as long as you follow the license terms. You may not apply legal terms or technological measures that legally restrict others from doing anything the license permits. The owlbears in the SRD? This is, wow, holy shit. Face spiders are SRD, yes, so that means now that the entirety of the SRD is opened in the Creative Commons license, you could just use the fucking face spider however you want. So after 3 weeks of absolute madness, after all the pain and the suffering, after the community has been used and abused, after all this, finally, earlier than what was anticipated, instead of being in February, the OGL 1.0A is back. Not only is it back, the entirety of the SRD 5.1 is under the Creative Commons license. This is not how I expected this to go, if I'm being completely honest. I've joked about this. I didn't think it was going to actually happen, but it happened. Thank you for following me along this journey. And I'll see you next time, as the crow flies. Thank you for making it to the end of today's video. And if this burb was able to get you to smile, even a little bit, amid this horrifying ordeal, then please hit the like button, or leave a comment down below. Can't think of a comment? Then leave the comment OGL. And tell me what you wish those letters stood for. Omega Gamer License? Old Gary the Lobster? Type it up down below. And if you want to support me even further, then join the ever-increasing amount of burbs who have pledged their support as a member by hitting the join button, or who have signed up as a patron on Patreon. And join the burb aristocracy for early access to videos and a special role on the Crow's Perch Discord. And join patrons like my counts of quills, like Kirito Kazuto, Critical Kunik, Evix, King Drazil, Christian Pip, Cosmosis, Rikus, Vincent, Haley Thompson, Zero Fang, and Netscape Navigator. Or if you'd like to pledge $5 instead, then why not join our Barons of Beaks, like Jinja Ninja, Haley McAuliffe, Captain Rel, Kumori Fior, Shane Benjamin, Gene Kid Nebula, Liminal Arc, Brittany Mars, Rimgrim, Raytheana the Nerd, Sarah Warren, Spectre Spark, Ars Tarak, Ghost Legan, Mr. Hypocritical, Jesse Shodell, Kuntos Weasel, Techblog, Chorus Store, Cardispawn, Jester King, Lord Rend, Wormy, Den of the Drake, Mickey Eatley, and Anya. Or if you're absolutely insane and want to pledge $10 for some reason, then you can sign up with our Dukes of Feathers. They also get a cool little yellow name, it's kinda nice. Like Repetitive Debug, Elf, Craycard, Hexblading, Kive Mind, The School Bus, Mirage Vaxis, Quinn, Jarrett Sewer, Blues Otters, Jared Zemlin, Doc Salty 96, Matthew Moqueenie, and Acroth. And before we leave off today, here is this week's Odd of the Week by user Oni on the Crow's Perch Discord. If you've ever been unfortunate enough to get absolutely destroyed by me and my brother in Hunt Showdown, just know that it's because I have a really good gaming chair. It even has these cute little talons at the bottom. I swear, I need to commission a chair like this. This looks so good. I really appreciate it, Oni. Here's a second piece, also by Oni. After a surprise of nearly $300 worth of donations on my last OGL stream. You guys are awesome for that, by the way. And these streams really brought me back from being sad about the December slump my channel ran into. On that note, I'm sorry about being late on the past few uploads. This whole OGL situation has people on edge in the community, and worried about their livelihoods. It's rough, and it's even made me consider what direction I want to take the channel going forward. I firmly believe tabletop gaming will survive past this. And with Pathfinder opening up their own license and indie devs having their own golden age, I strongly believe that we can move on even without Wizards of the Coast. But until then, I'll see you next time, as the crow flies.